What's up, everybody? Once again, it's your main man, your partner in personal development, Mclinn, and we are coming back with quote number 13 from my book of favorite quotes. Um, I'm a little delayed with this one. Um, got behind this week, some acting stuff that I was doing. It's pilot season, so it's a real busy time for actors trying to book TV shows. Um, and also, I coach a boys basketball team, two boys basketball teams, an eighth grade team and a high school varsity basketball team. So I'm a little delayed this week, but we back. Okay, it don't stop. It doesn't stop. The only way it stops is if we quit, and we don't never quit. Um, my book of favorite quotes, number 13. And thank you for those who are actively participating. I really appreciate it. Um, lets me know that I'm not the only one who is concerned about how his life is going in the direction and how can I just improve every day. So it's just, it's like working out with somebody. It's more fun to do it with somebody than do it by yourself. But if there's nobody to do it with, I'm still going to do it by myself. All right, number 13. My heart will be the pathway. I'm searching for a love that's evermore. My heart will be the pathway. I'm searching for a love that's evermore. And it's actually, I got it from an old R&B song from Troop. The actual song is called Spread My Wings. And there's a line in there that it says, my heart will be the pathway. I'm searching for a love that's evermore. It's interesting before we read. I think when I got really, really deep into spirituality and universal law and metaphysics and just reading and meditating, like I could find inspiration anywhere. So things that I've listened to for many, many years that I thought meant something to me, like with all of this revelation and new information, like the same words took on new meaning. And I'll talk about it more after we read, but you know, that line, it hit me like a lightning bolt. And I was like, oh wow, that makes sense now. My heart will be the pathway, and I will explain later. All right, let's read. Once again, number 13 is my heart will be the pathway. I'm searching for a love that's evermore, and I got it from the singing group Troop. And the actual song is called Spread My Wings. So if you don't know that song, you should YouTube it, Google it, listen to it. It's pretty powerful. I never would have thought that inspiration could come from lyrics in a song, but I guess why not? They are someone's thoughts that turned into words and created a feeling. It wasn't until I began to travel extensively that the meaning of this began to take on a deeper connection. Up until then, it was just a catchy hook on a song. As I dug deeper into my soul and wanting to understand more completely the meaning of my life, it was then that it began to resonate eternally. In my travels to Nigeria, Egypt, Honduras, Belize, and Nicaragua, just to name a few, there was a common theme. In spite of external conditions that may lead you to believe the world is a crappy place, I found the world to be absolutely perfect. It's in perfect balance with equal amounts of everything we need to live a happy existence if we choose to do so. Equal amounts of positive and negative, equal amounts of light and dark, and so on. Walking through the rainforest in Belize, there was something for anything we needed. There were leaves strong enough to clean pots, leaves to chew on to clean your teeth and freshen your breath, ants to eat for a good source of protein, etc. The world is equipped to handle whatever our needs are. So then the question becomes, why did I view the world as if it were out of balance? It was because my view of the world was distorted and limited to the images I saw on TV, which only shows what is predominantly wrong with the world as opposed to what is right. I had a golf ball sized consciousness, so in turn I had a golf ball sized view of the world. I now see that there is nothing wrong with the world. My travel allowed me to expand my consciousness and understanding of the world. It all comes down to where I'm choosing to place my focus of attention. on the love in the world or the hate in the world. It's a choice I can make, and I choose to focus my attention on seeking and engaging the love in the world. So how does my heart being a pathway play a significant role? It is because our hearts are the gateway to Christ consciousness, or pure positive energy. The heart is the strongest organ in the body and gives off the most energy as well. When you understand the energy centers in the body, you get it that in order to ascend or rise to higher levels of spirituality, you start at the coccyx bone, which is about survival. So we're talking about the 7 energy centers. Travel upwards to your navel area, which represents sexuality, reproduction, and creativity, to your solar plexus, which is your personal power. Continue to the gateway or pathway, which is your heart, which is the center for love, relationships, and on to the upper levels of the throat center, which represents communication. Next, you reach your third eye, intuition, wisdom, and lastly, your crown, which represents your spirituality. So if your heart is hardened due to traumas, disappointments, hurts, rejections, etc., then it will be a struggle to truly connect with your higher self, which wants nothing but for you to experience love and positivity. Once I accepted this, I consciously began to soften my heart because I wanted to experience unconditional love. I expressed more love, compassion, and empathy with myself first in order to be able to give it back to the world. I exercised in everyday practical situations like being cut off in traffic, someone showing up late to a meeting, not booking an acting job, or getting a parking ticket. I'm no longer afraid to think with my heart because when I do, I instantly choose better feeling emotions like joy, bliss, and gratitude when engaging other people or situations on this planet. So it is my suggestions to you to begin to think and feel with your heart first, speak from your heart first, and you will see how love, compassion, gratitude, and respect for others emanates from you dramatically. Okay? That's number 13. And it's inspired by the quote, "My heart will be the pathway. I'm searching for a love that's evermore." So let's reflect on that a little bit. So I mentioned how my traveling helped to expand my awareness, my consciousness. It allowed me to see other cultures and understand other people, and relate it to my own existence and what I thought the world was. So the 7 energy centers of the body, and there's actually more because there's like another 5 or so above the crown. But when I studied in Egypt, and I went to Egypt a couple of years ago to study Egyptian mysticism, I went to mystery school. And if you're interested in anything like that, by all means, you should go. It was an overwhelmingly emotional experience. I learned so much, and my life will never and has never been the same since. But being out there and the way the temples are set up, the way the meditations and the rituals are set up, the temples are set up in accordance with the 7 energy centers of the body. And once I understood the spirit's journey from consciousness into this physical body and then trying to return back to consciousness, it made sense because the direction is kind of like a clock. So you start at 12 and then you have to involve, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you start to evolve back to 12. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we come here, the spirit, as pure positive energy, and then we come to experience this physical world with everything that's in it. Positive, negative, life, death, racism, wealth, poverty, sickness, health. Like we come knowing we're going to have this experience. Because otherwise we would stay where we are in spirit form. Excuse me. So coming here you have to disconnect from, and I use the term loosely because you're never entirely disconnected, but and for lack of better words and for the sake of conversation, you have to disconnect from that source in order to come here in the physical realm as a baby. But the baby is actually an all-knowing, powerful entity that's connected to this source, but we forget that in order to have this physical experience. And then our job here is to try to return back to that in this physical form before we expire and time to go wherever we go. I don't know. But that direction is from, being the world being about just physical, hunger, survival, the basic needs of a human. And then as you start to ascend, and it's like, materialism and wanting and desires and people and relationships and stuff like that. And then you get to a certain point, and if you listen to most successful people, they talk about once they gotten everything, it never really truly made them happy. Jim Carrey has a great speech about it, and if you haven't heard it, you should Google it. But Jim Carrey talked about he wishes that everybody could realize their dreams, so you can see that it's not everything you thought it was. That there's something more that we're here to be doing. But the pathway is from your coccyx bone, to your navel, your reproductive area, to your solar plex, into your heart. So it's an ascension. So it starts from the bottom and it goes up this way. And the heart chamber is the gateway. It's the pathway. So once you get there, now you're into your communication, you're into your third eye, you're into your crown, and above and beyond. So when it was explained to me and I understood it and I accepted it, I was like, oh, wow. And it made me think, like, how would my life be different? How would my communication be different? How would my relationships be different if I thought from my heart as opposed from my logic in my brain? And I'm not saying you don't need to be logical or, use your brain, but it was explained to me that my mind, my knowing mind, is in my heart. And when I thought about it, I was like, wow, I will probably be more compassionate. I will probably give myself and people the benefit of the doubt more, because I accept that everybody's doing the very best that they can. Like, I don't think anybody is intentionally trying to fuck things up or fuck people up, in pardon my language. Not to say that there's not some people out there doing that, but when I accept that as a premise, that really helped me. So something small as getting cut off in traffic. If I just go, wow, I don't know what's going on with that person. Whatever it is, I'm sure it wasn't intentional. I don't know them. It can't be personal. Maybe I represent something that, bothers, like whatever it is, I know it doesn't have anything to personally do with me. I wasn't the first person to be cut off or have cut someone off. And for them to respond or me to respond a certain way without thinking from my heart is where a lot of the turbulence comes from. And I was like, yo, I can do that. I can do that, but let me start small. Let me start with little things and then build the muscle to thinking that way and accepting life that way. And people look at me like, I'm a cyclops. You know what I mean? Like, because most people don't intentionally try to believe that everyone's doing the best they can. And I'm not saying you got to agree with what they do, but I just accept it. So whether I agree or disagree, I believe that everyone's doing the best that they can. Because if they could do something better, I believe that they would. So I know for myself, my heart got heavy when my dad passed away. So, I hardened it because that pain was so gut-wrenching and so tough that I never wanted to feel that kind of pain again. So I guarded myself. So there was no way for me to be um, overall compassionate and show empathy and sympathy for people because I was hurting. I was in pain. So in some situations, I wanted people to feel the pain like I did. In other situations, I tried to protect people from the pain that I felt. Like it was really odd, my behavior. And, you know, this kind of thing or these kind of studies have helped me trace it back and go, oh, okay. I see where the paradigm shift. And do I want to go back to before that event happened? Because the event wasn't designed to keep me stuck. My dad passing away wasn't like he didn't intentionally die to hurt me. You know what I mean? So, but it taught me so much about life and helping to shape who I am today that I go, oh, okay. I like how I was before that happened. Can I get back there and not dispose of the event of my father passing away, but putting it in its proper place, its proper context, and not allowing it to affect every single relationship that I have for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Because we're here as spirits to have this physical experience, and I want to experience it all. And I'm not going to let a very tragic event stop me from having and experiencing unconditional love and relationships and just all of that stuff where you have to be vulnerable in order to have it. So trying to harden my heart, protect myself, I'm only setting myself up for limited relationships. So I just accept that my heart, I'm supposed to think from my heart, and when I come in contact with people, I just go, okay, like give them room to be who they are. Don't try to push any agenda on them. Be an ear to listen. And, it is unusual for people. It takes time to get used to because most people want to give that responsibility to somebody else. You want to give the responsibility of your heart to somebody else. And it's not their responsibility. Now, most people don't know that, so they take that on and they become responsible for your joy and your happiness and your bliss and how you feel. Well, so-and-so made me feel. It's like nobody can make you feel anything. You give them the power to make you feel, right? It's like walking down the street and my name is Brooklyn, somebody screams out Larry. Like, that has nothing to do with me, so I wouldn't even turn around, right? Unless people, in my experience, maybe people have called me certain things and now I'm turning around to see what they're talking to because I have an opinion about the name. But I'm giving that power. Nobody has power over you. Like, you have choice. You always have a choice. So I chose to be responsible for my own feelings and my own emotions and my own heart. And I'm going to use my heart and my thinking heart to improve my life and quality of life. And then by in turn doing that, it will improve the quality of life of people that I come in contact with. So it's just something to consider. Your heart as the pathway to Christ consciousness, to positive energy. So listening to that song has a whole nother meaning now. Spread my wings, fly away. It just thinking about it kind of gives me a little feel good moment. So that's number 13. My heart will be the pathway. I'm searching for a love that's evermore. And I understand now that that all resides inside of me. So yeah, if you, I appreciate you guys, following me with this stuff. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, dislikes, whatever, or how I can improve, feel free to share. But other than that, you can find me here. Also, lifestrategymeetup.com. If you need to shoot me an email, you have questions about things, lifestrategymeetup gmail.com. And once again, I thank you for your support. As always, self-love is in the house. It's your boy, Brooklyn Mclinn. Peace.